Namaskar दोस्तों, आपका मेरे YouTube channel में स्वागत है. Hello, my name is Ruslan, I'm from Russia and now I will watch video from India. The name of this video: After 3 wars with India we have learned our lessons, says Pakistan PM. Wow, intriga. Very interesting. Okay, let's start our video.
Hello and I welcome you
Hello,
to World Affairs. My name is
Prashant
Prashant Dhawan. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe to World Affairs English.
Subscribe
Recently,
and
Pakistan's
subscribe
Prime Minister Shehbaz
on
Sharif
his
went to
channel.
United Arab Emirates, and over there he made a very remarkable statement, which is pretty viral in India right now. He said that after 3 wars with India, Pakistan has finally learned its lesson. Now you
Yes,
might be asking, wait, why is Pakistan's Prime Minister in
PM
UAE? Well, the
Pakistan
reason is very
says
basic.
that.
Pakistan needs more funds, more loans to sustain its economy for the time being. Other than that, Pakistan's Prime Minister has also asked United Arab Emirates to mediate, to hold peace talks between India and Pakistan. India, of course, has rejected such proposals for a very long time now. We do not want third-party mediation between Pakistan and India. But while Shehbaz Sharif was in United Arab Emirates, he appeared for an interview. And during that interview, he
Yes,
uttered these golden words. Now, I want you to
yes,
listen
it's
to this
interesting
part of the
words.
interview. It's really interesting.
Time and resources. That's up to us. Pakistan has learned its lesson. We had 3 wars with India. 3. And the consequence of those wars, as a
Yes,
result, it only brought more miseries,
to the
unemployment,
two nations.
poverty, and millions were
it's bad news.
demoted from their level of satisfaction to a lower level of satisfaction. We have learned our lesson and we want to live in peace with India, provided we are able to resolve our genuine
Yes, great
problems.
idea.
Yes,
Now this is very important أختي. هذا نقطة مهمة جدا.
صحيح.
ضروري يعني. So my message to the Indian leadership and Prime Minister Modi is that let's sit down on the table and have serious and sincere talks.
Peace talks.
Now, the weirdest part of the entire video was
5.
Pakistan's Prime Minister
Yes,
kept raising 5 of his fingers, all the while repeating that we have had 3 wars with India. 3.
what does it
Well,
mean?
that and 3. And if you look at history, you can even say that Pakistan and India have fought 5 wars. The first war, of course, was started by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. The moment India and Pakistan partitioned, Pakistan launched a huge wave of attacks on Kashmir. At that time, Kashmir decided to merge with India. Pakistan desperately tried to invade all of Kashmir but ultimately failed miserably. This was the first war of Kashmir and Pakistan tasted defeat in its first year of
First
existence.
Kashmir
Then
war.
we had the second war of Kashmir, or
Second
perhaps all
Kashmir
of you
war.
better know it as the 1965 war between India and
Wow.
Pakistan. Again, Pakistan unleashed a major war on India. Pakistan was being supported by its European allies, its American allies, but still, India prevailed. India defeated Pakistan in 1965. And then comes the big daddy of them all, the 1971 India-Pakistan war, a war which resulted in the ultimate humiliation for Pakistan, where Pakistan actually lost 50% of its population, even though United States of America did everything it possibly could to help Pakistan defeat India. But ultimately, a new nation was born. Bangladesh finally achieved independence from Pakistan, and you can definitely say that this war was a major Indian victory. Then, of course, we had the Siachen conflict,
Siachen
which
conflict.
again resulted in an Indian victory. India till now controls the Siachen glacier. And then we had the Kargil war. You can check whichever source you want, Britannica
Kargil
or some
war.
other encyclopedia. Everywhere you will find the same outcome. India won the Kargil war, although we had to pay a price for it, but ultimately we won the Kargil war. So India and Pakistan technically have had 5 major conflicts, and Pakistan has tasted defeat in all 5 of them. And Pakistan's Prime Minister finally admits that all these wars
He's
have
crying.
taught Pakistan a lesson that they simply cannot defeat India. Although you can say it took them long enough, it took them decades to understand that perhaps A nation that is
Thousands
far
of
larger than theirs,
people's
has a much
lives,
bigger population,
humans' lives.
cannot be defeated by them. It took them long enough. They made sure that the region suffered, millions of people suffered, but ultimately
Million
in
peoples, yes.
2023, Pakistan's Prime Minister has declared that Pakistan has learned its lesson. The interviewer kept saying that, all right, both the countries have learned lessons, right? And Pakistan's Prime Minister ignored whatever she was saying. He kept saying that we have learned our lesson. Pakistan has learned its lesson after many defeats from India. And as most of you can imagine, when this interview was released, a lot of people in India assumed that perhaps Pakistan has finally had a change of heart. Now they are working towards a more pacifist route. They want to genuinely make peace with India. But the funniest thing happened moments later. After the interview was released, Pakistan's Prime Minister's office tweeted that in reference to Mr. Shehbaz Sharif's interview with Al Arabiya was a channel that took the interview. The spokesman of the PM office has said that the PM has consistently maintained that Pakistan and India must resolve their bilateral issues, especially the core issue of Jammu and Kashmir. And they also said that whatever happens, they are still not willing to accept the repealing of Article 370. Well, at least now they don't write Article 370, they just write India's illegal action of August 5th, 2019. And finally, they even mentioned that the Kashmir dispute must be in accordance with the UN resolution and the aspirations of the Jammu Kashmir people. So, even after the interview, which hinted that perhaps Pakistan is willing to have a much more softer approach towards India since it has learned its lesson, the Pakistani government has hinted that perhaps Pakistan still hasn't learned all of its lessons. A few more lessons are yet to be
Different
learned.
information, yes.
And this isn't a bad thing if you think about it. No, really, it isn't a bad thing if you really think about it. There is a famous quote on this topic by Rumi. Of course, Rumi was a famous Persian, you can say, mystic, poet. He once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." And perhaps Pakistan has had many such wounds where the light has finally started entering Pakistan. Recently, we have seen that Pakistan's journalists, their opinion writers, now openly ask their government to recalibrate ties with India. Otherwise, Pakistan will be just made a footnote in history. Pakistan might not even survive for a very long time if it keeps up its stubborn stance against India. So even though Pakistan's government,
Yes.
which is pretty much, you can say, controlled by the military, even though it might keep on repeating the issue of Article 370, at least its journalists, its prime ministers in their personal capacity are now openly saying that
Difficult
yes,
situation in
Pakistan has
Pakistan.
learned its lesson and it's time to
But
sit
if
down and
Pakistan
genuinely
learned
talk peace
its
with India,
lesson,
which I will say
I
is
think it's
some
good.
progress. Although a lot of progress needs to be made, but at least this is something that we can look
If
forward
Premier
to.
Minister
And this right here is
says
the end of the
that,
video. Thank you for listening,
I
and as
think
always, God bless you all.
it's very good. See you later. Bye bye.